come to this call and, you know, you're feeling like really high energy, and other days you're like, just like, okay, I just need to get this call done. Like, if we were really honest, right? Like, we're dialing up, but it's that thing of, yeah, I'm dialing up because I know I have to, I'm committed to this, but I'm just not feeling it. And we all have that. So I just want to commend you. I just want to commend you for whatever it looks like. And so I'm going to answer the question. I'm going to start that way so I can join you guys in it. So for me, if I was going to say like what's gone well for me in the last several weeks, I'm in an interesting space just by way of background, in that I am on a 1-month sabbatical right now. So I'm still doing my Gazelle Girl position. In fact, it's starting to pick up speed because the race is in April. But I'm not teaching right now. I would typically teach about 12 classes a week on top of that. And so I'm not teaching right now. I'm away from home in a place that's generally a whole lot warmer, but it isn't right now. Michigan's unseasonably warm, so it's kind of crazy. But because of that, my goals and things and the time that I'm spending and how I'm spending it, I guess, is very different than usual. So I would say that for me, the one thing that's gone really well is that I'm finding a healthy rhythm, if that makes sense. And I can appreciate, I think it might have been Lauren, but I'm not sure to learn all the names that fast, forgive me. But to be on that streak and have that time where you usually work out, because this is just how your schedule is, and then to get to 7:30 at night and that debate, that's kind of how my life is, because I'm getting my workouts in around when you guys are getting your yoga classes in and your workouts in, and so it's an interesting rhythm for my life. So I can say that I'm celebrating finding a healthy, balanced, probably is a good word, rhythm, in that I'm honoring the distance and the amount of runs versus the distance and the time that I practice on my mat. The type of practice that I do on my mat, and just finding a better balance. So that's the thing that I'm saying has gone really well for me in the last 3 weeks. And that's what sabbatical is about, is I knew I needed that time to pause and just really evaluate. And that intentional pause is just so necessary. My struggle, I can relate with the thing about water. So many of you had that water thing. Ugh, ew, me too. I just don't like the taste of water. It's so boring. Even when you put stuff in it, it's still kind of boring. It's just water with stuff in it. So for me, it's getting, the struggle would be coffee. The struggle is real. I'm a much nicer person after coffee. In fact, if I may, I've got coffee right here while I'm sitting here with you guys. So there's some transparency and some humanity. I'm in it with you guys. So there's my share. And so I'm just going to use that as just kind of the place to get started from. Lindsay asked me to share a few words that could perhaps be inspiring or just really honor where you guys all are in the journey. And I get that, because for me, if I put on my race director hat, like, training is just starting for most everyone. The half marathon training kicked off this last week. We did a Facebook Live for those that were 2 weeks in, and just really had candid conversations about what it looks like to get into, 2 weeks. It's right around 2 to 3 weeks where the struggle is real. It's either going to become a habit and you're going to grow addicted to it, and it's going to be a thing that becomes very much normal and starts to settle in, and you start to drive for more, or it's going to be that tension of, oh, do I turn and run? I just give it all up, right? It's that breaking point, if you will. And so one of the things that I guess I'd like to just really go there with is, for me, it's on those days when I'm feeling really low, why am I doing it? What am I doing? Who am I doing it for? And really, truly, like, for me, I can be just as human and honest as you guys are. Sometimes I have to find the bigger picture, the deeper meaning. And it can't be just because the training schedule said I needed to go 5 miles this weekend. You know, it can't just be about the number, what the training calendar says, or what the scale said, right? There's got to be something deeper. And so what are you working out for? What are you running for? What is the reason that you needed to get on your yoga mat for that gal that said that, right? Like, there's somebody in your household that needs you to get on your yoga mat. Or there's someone in the cubicle next to you that will have a far better day because you'll be so much nicer because you got on that yoga mat. Right? We need to take sometimes that pause, that intentional pause, to think about, like, get some leverage on what it is that you're doing beyond just what is it? Are you on 21 day fix, right? Are you on day 15 and you just got to get to day 16? Yep, there is that, right? That's part of keeping a training schedule, but there's so much more to it than that. And so I just want to challenge you to go back to when you first set your goals. I think it's easy. Like one gal said, like, you had that excitement, you're fired up, you've got this vision and you want to be more for your family or whatever it is. You've got, a goal to shift and change the way you feel in your body. Go back to those goals, those original goals, right? When things start to get hard. It's interesting. As a yoga instructor, I'm a little bit different from your typical yoga instructor in that intention's really important to me. And I think intention behind everything that we do, setting that intention, revisiting the intention, taking an intentional pause all the time to just reevaluate and think and stop. And so because of that, I always wind that into my classes. And so before I hopped on this call with you guys, I was getting ready to, I have my themes and my ideas for where I want to go when I come back to my classes for the next 4 months. And so I sat down and started working on them, and as divine appointments would have it, because that's just how I am. I don't believe in coincidences, only divine appointments. I had started working on them, and I want to dive into 4 elements: water, fire, earth, and wind. And I was working on water before I jumped on the call, and a couple of different things popped out at me, and I just want to share just a few inspirational words that you can, maybe it's something that will help you better anchor your week if you've lost sight of what those deep intentions were. And so I loved this idea about water. It was this: a river cuts through a rock, not because of its power, but its persistence. A river cuts through a rock, not because of its power, but because of its persistence. And it's so true. Like, if we think about it and we bring the imagery into our mind, right? And then this I love to see how cliches can sometimes play out in such a practical way. And then I read this one shortly after. The grass is greenest where we water it. Well, yeah. Duh, right? But there's something so beautiful in the simplicity of that. The grass is greenest where we water it. So it's that consistency, right? That intention. And it doesn't matter what it is. Whether it's, to move more, 30 minutes in a day, whether for you the focus was more on how you were eating, maybe it's prayer. Maybe it's getting quiet on your yoga mat. Because sometimes that quiet, even in that stillness and that light movement and connection to your breath, that's going to anchor you so you can go back with greater vigor to all of those other goals and things that go along with what you guys are doing. But maybe it will help you get back to just being more loving on the kids and the husband, significant other in your life, right? Those are all great, deep intentions to why we do some of these things to get healthy in our bodies, because there are some deeper intentions. And so I guess that's my challenge to you. tonight is just to really consider, like, where did it all start for you? Go back to that. And maybe if you never set that, maybe you never even gave that a thought. Maybe it was just the number on the scale or whatever, moving 30 minutes, whatever that goal was. Is there something deeper underneath it? And get really detailed about it. Because when you have something that chugs at you a little bit deeper, you're more apt to stay consistent in it, right? And persistent, just like that quote said with the river, right? It's not by power, because we're going to get tired, and our husbands are going to be gone, and there's life's going to happen, sickness is going to happen, all of those things are going to happen. But where can we find like that deeper meaning? And so that's I guess the thing that was just really resonating with me when I thought about where you guys are at in your journey in that 2 to 3 weeks time. That is really that point of tension. And so I just want to lead you back to and remind you of what your intention, your deeper intention was. So for me, just to share like a couple of quotes that keep me going, like my personal quotes. One is this: perfectionism is boring. Failure is fabulous. Perfectionism is boring. Failure is fabulous. Here's why. Because we are going to have days where we're going to get to the point and we're going to look at the clock and it's 7:30 and we're going to feel like we just can't do it. But maybe if we don't do it for 30 minutes, maybe we only do it for 15 minutes and we still did it. We still made it happen, right? And some days, there's going to be days when we're just like, yeah, didn't eat the way I wished I should have. And that's okay, because we get to go again. We get to go again. And so that leads me to my last thing that I love to say, and it's taken me really through life. Grace is brand new every day. Brand new every day. So I just want to encourage you, like, go back to those deeper intentions. Celebrate failures. We learn from them. Find persistence, just like the water, just like the river cutting through the rock, with that deeper meaning. Whatever it is for you. And I didn't get to hear all of you. I got to hear some of it. But man, I get it. I do. So thank you. Thank you for having me. I don't know if I'm supposed to ask if anyone can share or wants to share or has anything to say.
If you have time, Holly, that would be wonderful.
I would love that. I would love to just have a little bit of conversation and hear like those deeper like whys, like what resonates for people. Because I don't want this to just be something that I'm necessarily talking at you guys. I love to have the conversation and dig a little deeper.
And again, ladies, like when we think about the journey and just sticking with it, like, do you have any questions for someone who has trained runners and yogis and just gone on a really awesome path herself? Any questions that you might have for Holly? You can unmute yourself and just talk, or you can raise your hand, or you can put it in the chat box and we can answer questions that come up there as well. A couple of the girls put down their why too, Holly.
I was just going to say, I love the whys. That's awesome. I love that.
Questions? I know I have one if no one else is ready to speak up right now, but if you do, go ahead and unmute yourself. I guess I'll go ahead, Holly. Have you found in your personal journey, or for anyone that you've helped train, a way to think outside the box of, say, like a workout calendar or a meal plan calendar that have helped you mentally stay in the game longer and more consistently or persistently?
An outside of the box way?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I have a lot of outside of the box ways necessarily, but a couple of things that come up for me personally that I've used. I'm a huge journaler. So like even now, like I've got one that's full that I filled up in the time that I've been here, and it's a mess and there's papers falling all out of it, but the places I'm going to go, right? So it has some things that based on 2016 that I can go back and read and will probably bring me to tears. And it has some things that are just inspirational that I picked up along the way. It has just regular everyday things that I was doing, but it also has this beautiful place where I can go back and look at my life and go, okay, I'm still standing because I survived all of this. So I'm a huge journaler. That's not necessarily outside of the box. I know that, but the one thing that I will say about the journal is this, like, and it's upside down, forgive me, but it'll still give you the view, right? Notice there's like scribblies and it goes every direction and has arrows, and it's not neat and tidy, and neither is life, right? So sometimes like the whole journaling thing, we get caught up on, it has to just look like a bullet journal and it has to have these little symbols and everything has to be highlighted and beautiful. No. In fact, if you don't journal, I would encourage you to, not just about what you've eaten or how much you worked out, but throw it all on there. Have somewhere where you just, for lack of a better word, barf it all up, because you'll feel so much better. And for me, that's an encouraging place to be able to go back to, because I can go back to those good days and go, okay, I'm not having a good day, but here was a day of inspiration. It was a good day. And that gives me a reason to keep going. Another thing that works really well for me is to, and this may or may not be like totally apropos for how you have things very programmed, but sometimes it's nice to just get off the program and go play. So for me, I find that if I'm in a real rut, like I'm an advocate for play. Find the playground, go to the kids' local school, go to the gym, play some dodgeball with the kids. Like those are still things that are active, and they get the happiness flowing in a much bigger way, because it's not just what you're getting from the healthy benefits that the body's doing inside, but there's also those really cool emotional things that are happening when you just engage that playful side of you. We lose that so quickly. So I was in a Yoga Nidra workshop this weekend, and we were just talking about just how we're designed on a very cellular level. And they also offer hammock yoga, aerial yoga. And one of the things that we started out with, so very simple, was she had us just sit in the hammock and swing. And one of the things that she said is that we have so lost sight of our childlike inside play. We've tucked that person so far inside that the playful, free-spirited person hardly exists. We've stuffed them so far away. And she said on a very cellular level, our body needs all of those things in balance. And I just got to thinking about how much I love to go do a playground workout. Just hanging and dingling and trying to make my way across and swinging. And there's just a lot of very physical things that can happen on a playground. And I just always feel very full of life afterwards. In addition to that, I teach a chair yoga class with a group of just lovely, lovely seniors. They are just so very sweet. I think they actually bless me more than I bless them, honestly. But we do a lot of things, like I always try and incorporate other things into the workout. So it isn't just something where they're listening to me and we're just sitting in the chair and we're moving our bodies, or like in some cases for some of you folks, you're just in your living room watching a video. And we incorporate beach balls, and we incorporate popcorn bags, and so many other things. Like, can you get creative with the things even that you're using or the normal movements that you would be doing? Consider that. Like, just have some fun. I was a part of a challenge in the holidays. A couple of you will know about that challenge. And it's just very kind of similar to what you're doing in that 30 minutes from Thanksgiving through the end, into the holiday, Christmas, end of the year season. And I have to tell you that I had 2 or 3 days that were really hard. It was hard for me to get out the door. Life was really happening for me at the end of the year. And so I just told myself, and this isn't an out of the box thing either, but I'm going to go out, and whether I go 3 steps or 300 steps or 3,000 steps and catch 3 miles, I'm just going to go out. And so sometimes it just starts with the first step. And those days were the days where I felt the most rewarding workouts happened. And not just because I felt better in my body, but my spirit just felt so much happier when I got back. And so on both of those workouts, we had just gotten huge snowstorms where I live. And I went out and I made snow angels. Ferocious snow angels, if there is such a thing. Like, I just went to town, right? But in something so fun, it felt so good. And so where can you bring fun and playfulness into what you do? Because it doesn't have to be so serious either. So that would be my one, like, it's not necessarily out of the box, like crazy town anything, but sometimes we need to just mix it up a bit. And so play is my thing. Bring that like wild, free spirit to it, because we all have it lurking in there. It's just society that tells us that we really shouldn't, and I don't believe that, not even for a minute. So you'll find that you'll feel a lot better when you do unleash that outside.
With exercising and things like that too, we can even get caught up in how we should be doing it or where we should be doing it. And we get so strategic with that. So I love that message, Holly, where we can have fun with it. And ladies, if you are getting frustrated or bored with a program that you're doing, try something else out. And Andrea and I and Luana and Lisa too have lots of different options for you to even try a different workout if you are somewhere where it's not nice outside and you are cooped up inside. Or you're here in Southern Indiana and it feels almost like summer and you just want to go out and go for a walk or a run, that's a great workout. Go do that too. So thank you, Holly. I think sometimes we wait for permission, especially as women. And really, we don't need that. We can just do what feels good and what feels fun sometimes too, right?
Yeah. I think if we've ever had a time, and I'm not going to go down that road, but I'll just allude to it. If there was ever a time in America to be able to have that freedom to do it, it's now, right? We just get to be who we are, innately who we are. And so have fun with your workouts. I am that person too that will put on some really loud praise music, and I might just be lifting it up as I go. Or some days it might be gangster rap and I might be punching it out as I go down the road. I don't care who's driving by, because it's not about them. It's just not. So those are probably my 2 things that help me when I'm struggling, is being able to go back to the journal or go into the journal and dive in and just throw it all out there and be honest about it and let it go. Because there's something really freeing about that. Once it's out there, it's just out there. It's not in here anymore, and I don't have it as an excuse. And then just having some fun. Have some fun.
For sure. I think that's an awesome message going into week 3 for us. So thank you so much, Holly, for giving us some insight and inspiration and encouragement tonight. Are there any other questions for Holly right now? We do want to be thoughtful of time. The time now is 9:40, so if anyone does need to get going and wave goodbye, that's fine right now too. But we'll wait just another minute if anyone else has
If anyone has anything technical too with regards to yoga, or I teach Pilates. I'm ACE group certified, so I teach I can teach almost anything, but the things that I lean to, my sweet spot, my primary sweet spot is yoga, because that's where it all began for me. I have an additional yoga cert, but Pilates is probably my secondary, and I love to do outdoor boot camps. Shocker, since I was just talking about the playground, right? Because I'm going to incorporate like hill repeats or sprint training, and then you're going to come back and you're going to do some work on the slide or those types of things. So yeah, I love to do that kind of stuff. So if anyone has any, they're looking for ideas or you have questions about that, I'm happy to answer that too. Especially if you're just launching out for the first time, like those of you that have mentioned yoga can be a trickier thing because you want to make sure you're safe in the body and you're not necessarily sure. And I think the thing with yoga in a video setting as opposed to in a class setting is then you're trying to watch the video and try and do a down dog and see your form, and all of those things can sometimes be tricky. And so I'm one that I teach from a place of grace. Like, all questions are always welcome, and whatever you have, whether it be a power vinyasa day or maybe you just need a child's pose all day long, you know, that's the place that I teach from. So if you do have questions or you've ever wondered anything, I am more than happy to answer those questions, because I don't ever want that to be something that keeps people away from the practice, and sometimes it is.
I have a question about that. I have a problems with my rotary cuff, and the downward dog actually hurts. I won't say that it actually like extremely hurts, but is there a way that I can keep it from hurting as much? You know, am I putting my head down too much? You know,
that actually can be, no, that's a great question, because that can actually very much be a thing. So you want to make sure that, you know, alignment integrity, especially with that type of an injury, is so important, that you're not like pulling back and then dropping your head down. You want to make sure that you picture it all being in just a nice line, and your head and your gaze. And that's how it should be in all of the poses, really, truly. But we forget about where our gaze should be. But that idea that if I'm in a neutral spine, is my head still in that alignment integrity along with my spine? Because we're so quick to take our gaze here or there, or what's Susie next to me doing, or oh, I like her yoga pants, and you lose that integrity in your alignment. And that's in down dog, especially when you've got something like that going on. That can cause further damage down the road as well if you continue to do a pose like that improperly. So you do want to make sure that you don't sink your gaze down in between the shoulders, but rather that think about your ears coming right in line with your reach. And just being, you know, if you notice that you feel like you're dumping into your wrists, and you're probably a little too sunken in forward rather than back. So those are just the two primary things to notice.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question.
All right. Any other questions, ladies? All right. Holly, thank you so much for being here tonight. And ladies, we just encourage you to really sink into your why. And maybe that's a different why from week one. Maybe you dig a little bit deeper this week to make your why stand out in those moments when the going gets tough, and you come back to that. I have a sticky note on my bathroom mirror that has my goals for this month and two of my biggest whys, and a lot of that is just loving me. Like, I want to be comfortable with myself and love myself more, and be okay with that.
I love that you said that, because that's where, for me, when I first set that intention on the message 2 weeks ago, that was what got me thinking about it, was that very declaration of, who am I running for right now? Am I just running for this training calendar that says I've got a half marathon a couple months down the road? Like, what is that? And I'm running along and like trying, you know, you're trying to gasp for air anyways, running along, right? But I'm running along, and then I'm like, okay, I can feel that emotional overwhelmingness, like I'm about to like cross the finish line of some big race, because I finally was like, yeah, I'm running for me. Because when I run for me, everyone else gets that ripple effect of me having chosen to take care of me. So there's something really powerful in that. I love that you shared that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know all of these awesome, awesome gals on the call too have some deeper meanings that really speak to who they are as women and why they're doing this. So stay true to yourself, girls, and reach out to one another too. Holly, we are so blessed to have you here tonight. So thank you for taking time with us. And thank you again, ladies, for taking the time to be here live. I have recorded this call and have Holly's permission to share. So anyone else in the group or even anyone outside of the group, feel free to share this call with them if you think that it might inspire them in whatever journey they may be in as well. Okay. All right, ladies, on that note, we will sign off. You all have a great rest of your evening and a wonderful week ahead. Bye, everyone.